And another thing that I kind of wanted to add to this is that with Lady Laments, if you look at the views and stuff like that, she's not getting like 100K views or anything like that. She's getting somewhere between like a couple hundred, and that's probably just all of us, like, you know, the GCs, Radfems, the KJK stands, whatever, listening. And then there's people that listen to this stuff multiple times, either if they want to clip something or whatever. So I wouldn't worry too hard because it just seems like Lady Laments is only really for people in this circle. It's not like she's gonna suddenly blow up and become an internet sensation either. So to expect everyone, and it's also kind of, I wouldn't say like childish, but it is kind of naive to expect everyone to be like, I don't give consent, and then have everyone else just listen along and be like, oh, well, they said they didn't give consent, so I can't really do. Because the thing is, too, we all don't live in, like, one little part of, you know, the UK or whatever where, you know, like, there's people in Australia, there's people in the US, there's people all over Europe and stuff like that that are listening to these. And it's not like it can really, because I do hear people saying they want to bring, like, the police into it, and I don't really think there's jurisdiction. There was something I wanted to say about the priest dude. He is kind of weird. I'm not gonna even lie, because I don't know. Maybe he's a priest. I don't know. But I will also have to say, even though I had my thing with domestic in the past, I'm over it. It is what it is. I will say she has never been wrong from what I've seen. When she calls someone, it's never been like, oh, it's like unbased. Like, 'cause she's like, oh yeah, this dude's fucking shady. Ollie was the biggest one, but I think there was like two other dudes where this happened, and she was right on it. So if there's someone to trust when they say this person's kind of shady, I would trust domestic on that.
The law is when you're in a public space, there is no reasonable expectation of privacy. Therefore, people are free to film you, record you, photograph you, whatever. If I was standing in the street, in the park, in the town square, whatever, and someone was videoing me or taking photos of me or recording me talking to my friend, and I said, I do not consent, you can't use any recordings of me, they can laugh in my face.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, we're aware of that.
One sec. RMF, can you just quickly say hi, or I'm going to have to boot you because I don't want any trouble in the space.
Well, I wasn't trying to cause any trouble. I was just trying to give some background information as far as the legal stuff is concerned, because I happen to work in IT.
Thank you. Okay. Big, if you go ahead and then we'll hear from RMF.
I've forgotten what I was saying, Dom. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's cool. It will come back to me.
Go for it, RMF. You sound like you have a German accent, so that could be useful with your, different perspective.
Well, I hope my German accent isn't going to cause anyone to be upset, but I
No, I mean because of the legal, Twitter having its legal entity in Germany, it might be useful.
Well, actually, as far as the legal background is concerned, it doesn't matter where the corporate headquarters of the company are located. The only thing that matters is where the servers are, where the physical location of the servers are located. That and the small print of the corporate. I don't know how you say that in English. The conditions, the business rules, the small print, the legalese that you see pop up, and then you just click that stuff away without reading it. First and foremost goes the law of the country where the servers are based, and anything that is not regulated in that law is then regulated in those business conditions that stipulate what further rights or restrictions you grant to the company. Many people have this confusion that where the company is headquartered would be binding, but legally speaking, what is important is where the actual transaction is happening, where the business is being done. And so what's important is where these computer processes, these programs, where they are running, where they are operating. So locations that have a rather laissez-faire approach to that and let companies get away with an awful lot, for example, Iceland, because the folks in Iceland, a large part of their GDP comes from, allowing companies to host servers on their location.
So for this Twitter situation, people would have to find out which Twitter server they were connecting to where, and then, I mean, obviously with a platform like this, it's easier. It makes more sense to just approach the company, but if they're not getting satisfaction, then they would have to, go quite far.
Well, again, if the provider of the service, I mean, with Twitter, it's relatively easy because, that information where their servers are located and stuff, that's publicly available. But again, if you have any provider that doesn't respond to your inquiries, what you then do is you go through those internet records and get the contact info for the provider, the company that actually hosts the servers. And if you feel that is technically overwhelming, there are actually agencies that you can hire over the internet that specialize in taking material down, and they don't even cost that much. I think it's about $250.
That really went over my head. I have not got a tech brain at all, and my brain has hurt just listening to you and trying to understand, the whole system, the whole process. Maybe because I'm tired, but thank you, because I know that other people in this room would be really, really interested, and unlike myself, be able to follow that. So I'm still a bit none the wiser. And I'm just kind of sat here thinking, okay, so if it's not illegal, if there are loopholes, we're still very early days into this new age of technology and speaking publicly and live online. And but I don't know, to me it's just because it's legal, does that make it moral? I forgot who said that the other week.
Well, that's what I was saying, Dig, because I think this was prompted from a moral standpoint because, like I was saying, of all the grifters and double agents in spaces. So yeah, it is moral. That's why I'm not kicking off about it. I completely agree.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how it pans out. I don't know. Can I just be cheeky and put in a quick plug, Dom? Can I just let everyone know that on Thursdays there's going to be women's spaces talking about women's rights on a Thursday, I think at about 6:00, and that's Cassandra.
If I'm blocked by the host, I'm really annoyed that you're plugging this. Who's hosting?
Sorry. Oh, I don't know who blocks who. It's Grace.
It's Grace, isn't it? I know. Okay. She's blocked me, so I don't want to hear about it.
Oh, okay. All right, soz. Well, I kind of.
Sorry, and I don't want to shut you up, but she's had me blocked for over a year for no reason.
I didn't know that, Dom. Sorry that she's blocked you, but she's providing a space to try and get newcomers in as an alternative. That's all.
I get that, but I don't really know what to say about it because, like with everything I said before, EJ could be influential, Grace could be influential, a lot of people could be influential, and then, I don't know what they're influencing people into or out of or any of that. So, do you know what I mean? I'm not bigging up anybody in spaces. Oh, so-and-so's done so much. I've never heard of these people. It's just, it boggles me, mate. Like, just because somebody's prolific on Twitter doesn't mean that you automatically trust them and think, well, I mean, well, anyway, I'll leave that there. I'm not saying I don't trust Grace. I'm not saying that at all. but she just blocked me, so I don't like her. That's all that is. Yeah.
Oh yes, one other thing. If you don't agree that your name comes up on top of that list, for example, if somebody types in abuse or criminal something, and then your name appears on top of that list, and you think that besmirchifies your reputation, that is libel or slander, there's a process again where you can appeal that.
Yeah. Well, anyway, hopefully we can change the topic. If I don't know who was in when I was saying my piece about the dodginess of spaces, and that if there are grifters and double agents in spaces, Lady Lament's videos will expose them. So I don't know what everyone's moaning about, unless they themselves are a grifter or a double agent. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say, guys, because everything's changed. But I hope that spaces. Oh, go ahead, Heather.
Oh, I was listening to RMF, who was really full of information, which I found really interesting, but equally rather alarming, because I understood so little of it. And I was just thinking to myself, this is no world for old women.
Yeah, if I may just shortly, as I was saying, there are actually agencies that you can hire, and you don't have to be a famous celebrity. They have very reasonable prices. A takedown request can cost you as little as $250. I mean, that's still money for some people, but on the other hand, these are agencies that specialize in this kind of stuff. And I've also found one thing. I don't know how many of you did yourself the disfavor to look at lots of the garbage that Generation Z is consuming these days. Unfortunately, I was my 60 years of age. I did that, and I have to tell you, I couldn't possibly imagine what any of you ladies could say or do on Twitter Spaces that could outmatch the garbage that is floating around on TikTok.
No, I would say I'd never really wanted to compete with the Marquis de Sade. So